Hello again. In today's lesson, we are introducing soft C. Sounds an unusual term, doesn't it? But it's because we sometimes say the sound S when we see the letter C, like in city or centre on this sign. So how do we decide when to use soft C? That's what we are introducing. And there will be some other lessons called using soft C after we've introduced the choices that we will be making. To begin with, our choices are all about the vowel sound that we can hear after the sound K. Can we hear I, E, O, A or A? Because depending on what we hear, we decide whether to write the letter K or the letter C. And if we are thinking about hearing K at the end of a one-syllable word that has a short vowel sound, like the word snack, we write C and K together. So, lots to think about. And our spelling story that we have about the king making a cup of tea will grow into a longer spelling story to help you remember the rules about when to use C and about which sound do we say. So, here we are again. If we cycle to the city centre, and you can see two people doing just that, we can hear S at the beginning, but we are writing the word with a C. Cycle, city, and centre. So if we put those in alphabetical order, the sound S can be written not just with an S or a double S, but by having CE, CI, or CY. Now, we haven't covered the letter Y yet, so we won't be writing words with CY. Not just yet. We will be thinking about CE and CI. Let's take a think about this coin, which is called a cent, a euro cent. And you'll see I've just covered up the word cent that was written on it. So let's think about the sounds. S, and it's a spelling choice. E, N, T, cent. And I'm marking that S at the beginning with a horizontal line to remind me that this is a spelling choice. And we are writing the S sound with the letter C. S is C, and it's followed by E. So when I'm reading that C being followed by an E will let me know exactly which sound to say. But I know what you're thinking. Hi, but what if I'm spelling? What's going to remind me then that I need to put a C? think about the shape of the coin. Look at that. It has a C. There we go. There's our reminder. We are being creative and thinking of ways to help us with our spelling. And if we're writing the word cent, we know it's a coin, and we can draw or write a C round the edge. We introduce that just briefly, as well as somebody called Vincent. And here we have one of Vincent van Gogh's paintings made into a colouring in sheet. So, what's going to remind us here? Well, this particular painting has a moon that will also remind us that when we write his name, the S we can hear in Vincent will be written with a C. How many syllables can you hear? Vin. And I'm going to say it with a spelling language, cent. Vincent. We tend to say Vincent, but that doesn't help our spelling. So, think about the sounds in the first syllable. V, I, N. Second syllable, S. And it is a spelling choice. E, N, T. Vincent. Okay. Let's get writing. Now, write along with me if you'd like to, or you can pause and write the words yourself and then see how well you did. Okay, so 2 words that we had already introduced. That's a reminder that you are familiar with this rule. But let's move on. But we have another word that sounds exactly the same. Cent. S, E, N, T. When we look at our sound circles, it looks exactly the same. So how do we decide how to spell our spelling choice? Well, think about the meaning. If you are sent something in the post, there is an S in the word post. If you are sent to bed because you're really tired and need good sleep, sleep begins with the letter S. And what about if we are sent to see the head teacher because we've done some really good work? That has the letter S as well. They are our clues that we're going to spell at the beginning of this scent with an S. Let's get writing. S is S, E is E, N is N, and T is T. Scent. Let's move on. And here we have another coin. And I've just covered up the word pence because the S is at the end of the word. But it's another circle shape. And we can write the letter C round the edge. That's our reminder. Let's think about the sounds. P, E, N, S. Our spelling choice. Now, we've already had a wee think about the fact that, okay, there will be a C, but we also need to remember that that C needs to be followed by E, I, or Y for us to say S. And it is C-E. So, P is P, E is E, N is N, and S is C-E. Because if that E wasn't there, well, we wouldn't be saying S. Let's think about another word that rhymes with pence. A fence. F, E, N, S. Our spelling choice. F is F. E is E. N is N. S is C, E. We need that E to tell us to say S. You could make it into a wee story. I found 5 pence by the fence. And that would remind you. Here is another scent. It's a word that we use when we smell something. And here's that smell going up both nostrils. And that's going to be our creative way of remembering that for this word, we are going to use 2 letters for the S sound at the beginning. So, let's think about all of the sounds we can hear in the word scent. S, spelling choice. E, N, T, scent. And we are going to use an S and a C for that S at the beginning. And that's where the 2 nostrils we think about. Scent, yep, I need both of them. S is S, C. E is E, N is N, and T is T. There. We have a way of remembering that. How about science? Now, a scientist always double checks. And that's going to be our reminder for this word. How many syllables? Science. I can hear S, I in the first syllable and E, N, S in the second syllable. I've got S at the beginning and S at the end. Think about scientists always double check for the S at the beginning. So, S, is S and C. I for the sound I. And then we have ence, just like in fence and pence. Science. So we use just the letter C followed by an E for the spelling at the end of the word. And we use an S and a C at the beginning. And our creative way of remembering that is to think scientists always double check. So I need an S and a C. This time our word is scientific because we have another spelling choice coming. So, how many syllables? Sci, en, tif, ick. Right, sigh. I can hear s, I. Okay, so s has a horizontal line to remind us it's a spelling choice. And we have our picture thinking about double checking. And I is a long vowel sound. We're quite familiar with how to spell those when we hear them at the end of a syllable. N, e, n. Okie dokie. Tiff, t, I, f. Now we can hear f at the end of a syllable, not a word. So think about that when we're writing it. And ick, another spelling choice. K at the end of a word. If we hear ick at the end of a word with more than one syllable, we don't write I-C-K, we just write I-C. So let's write those syllables. Have a go at the first one. Sigh. Is this what you put? Well done if you remembered the S and the C, because scientists always double check. N, tiff. I don't need a double F because this is a syllable. And ick, because this is the spelling choice if I hear ick at the end of a word with more than one syllable. I'm going to cover those up. Have a go at writing scientific, or work along with me if you'd like to. Sigh. I need an S and a C because scientists double check. I is an I. N. Tiff. And I only need one F because it's the end of a syllable. And ick. It's at the end of a word with more than one syllable. So I just put I-C. And we're doing something a little bit different today because my iPad wasn't playing when I set up this presentation. So we are going to dot the I's and cross the T's using this pen, because all of the timing that I set aside to talk as the word appeared was used up on dotting the I's and crossing the T. Not helpful, but doing it this way is just fine. Now, in the extra lessons that we are going to have in this section, we will go over the ick at the end of a longer word again. Let's have a look at our spelling story. Okay, the king put the kettle on to make the cop in the cap a cup of tea, and he gave him a snack. Then they got on their bikes and cycled to the city centre. After that, they went to a park. Now, it could have been Pollock Park, Queen's Park, Glasgow Green, or Victoria Park. Oh, and I mustn't forget Kelvin Grove. Lots of places to choose from. Where do you think they went? So they cycled on to have a picnic in the park. And here we have that rule, but we don't need ICK, although they may well have picked up some sticks. We need, because it's a word with more than one syllable, IC in picnic. Oh, that picnic had a wonderful scent. The food was going to be good. We have a spelling story to think about all of those choices. Maybe you'd like to tell the story to somebody else so that you can remind yourself of all the rules that we will be going over in some other lessons. Thank you for joining me.